And we're back. That's right, we've never been more back than now. I'm joking. Alright, let's get right into the point of today's video. I'm here to prioritize showing off new songs that I feel like could use more spotlight, and just other ones I think could use a good explanation. But most importantly, we're here to correct some of the big mistakes I made in the last video. So, without further ado, if you want to see the new stuff, there will be a timestamp right down below. And if not, you can come just listen to me right my wrongs from the original. There's a couple things I do want to address, and I think it'll serve for more time, more content for you. Starting in order, I got this wonderful comment that explained the Bendo confusion. It's not Bendy, it is a separate character that is original, but I don't really have much of a reason to go into their backstory, considering I'd have to actually look into that myself. So I'll just put up the comment because I think it was really good, and I do think it helps a lot with the explanation. And while it doesn't affect my theory too much, because it's more of just kind of a mockery to Alan from the original theory, I still want to address the confusion that it is not the same character, it is a separate one. But there it is, you got your 20,000 seconds of fame. The second major confusion I wanted to get out the way was the confusion between End being in the album, but he's not. In specifically Sinister, there is a character that looks similar to End, but is named Boundle.
For some reason I kept calling him Boundle instead of Boundless, I don't even know why.
Boundle, I don't know. Boundle, I believe. And they are a representation of X, not exactly End, the character. So, with this in mind, the new theory is a lot simpler actually. Boundle explicitly says that he's the uncertainty. And so I'd like to say that this is kind of the conflicting feelings within Lord X himself. The new theory is that Boundle is the direct uncertainty, the exact feeling that Lord X has, which also makes it a lot easier to explain why he's there to begin with. And in general, I think it works a lot better with the rest of it, because it's kind of like, as I stated before, Majin's kind of hyping up X and is telling him, keep going dude, keep playing your games. So Boundle being the direct uncertainty of X works for this kind of conflicting feeling between them. And I also have seen the Majin being EXE or Faker kind of debate, and I do think it's a really good one. This is just personally my interpretation, because I would just prefer if it were a bit more like outright stated. Then again, it's all up to interpretation. It is meant to be confusing. So that's kind of the stuff I wanted to address from the first video out of the way. Another thing I wanted to address, my audio was pretty bad, but it was also done exclusively with my headphones, so it is made more for headphone users than just basic audio listeners. I'm very sorry for that. Big oversight. I'll try to fix it in this one. I hope it comes out better. I'm trying a new method with a new microphone. If it works, I'll keep rolling with it. The first song on the list is Disobedience. This song is a lot newer and more fresh, but most importantly, has a pretty simple explanation behind all of it. While it's one of my personal favorites, it's a lot easier to understand from just listening to the lyrics directly without having to read into it too much. If you don't already know about our pre-established characters, we have Lord X, the main antagonist of the entire series, Alan and Kylie, two separate vessels that kind of, serve as our protagonists for most of the story, and it seems they've gotten themselves in quite the situation this time. Disobedience takes directly after a punishment delivered by Lord X to both vessels, explicitly because of Kylie. We see that in this, they start cheating and trying to outsmart him in his own games. This leads to him getting frustrated and directly calling them out on it, asking for things like just listening and playing along. Instead of trying to outsmart and outwit him, he gets sick of it and takes matters into his own hands. So, throughout the song, we see him explicitly do various acts. Okay, well, There's no music video to go along with it, which is kind of funny, but yeah, it makes sense. The footage you see playing right now is made by an animator named Wad_037. I will put up a link to their channel in the description. It does a great job of encapsulating the meaning of the entire song and showing off the kind of anger that Lord X would have towards the various vessels that keep trying to outsmart and cheat at his very own games. The next song is Adieu, a song I mentioned in passing in the first video and a song that I want to dive deeper into in this one. Adieu is a song exclusively between Lord X and Alice's father, in which he taunts him for not being there and being neglectful. It's his own actions that led his daughter to being lost in this game forever, and he's the only one to blame. Alice explains how things went. Alice explains how Lord X tore her heart out, how he broke her, and eventually, Alice's father has no other choice but to enter the world himself, in a desperate and hopeless attempt to save his daughter, who's already long gone. The problem is, Adieu essentially tells you the story right up, so there's not a lot I can go into depth with. I really do love the song, and it has an amazing, awesome, and just great vibe and sound to it. Personally, I do wish I could give it the justice it deserves, but I guess there's no better justice than listening to it yourself. So, Adieu, as simple and explanatory as it is by just listening to the lyrics a little. It's a great song, and I really do love it. And I recommend it to everyone watching, especially you, John. I see you. Come back. The next song we'll be covering is Temptation. Temptation is about the Sonic PC port, and more specifically about the anti-piracy segment of the game. After a certain point, you will be given an anti-piracy screen. Of course, it's not real, but it gives you this funny looking Sonic after a while. After messing with the files, it'll essentially just scream at you and force you to close the game. Considering the PC port has been a demo since forever, there's not a lot to this character, and it is essentially just Lord X himself. The song is pretty simple when you take this into account because it really is just about people being tempted to pirate games and such. While you can read into the lyrics a little more, it's mainly just Lord X essentially scolding the viewer for pirating his game. But he also kind of, tempts you with it. It's a pretty cool song. I'm a huge fan of it. 10 out of 10. Yeah. But like a lot of other songs we're going to see or have already seen, it's a pretty self-explanatory song, and there's not too much to go into it with. More just a fun song than anything else. Pareidolia, the psychological phenomenon when your brain perceives a familiar pattern in something abstract or something completely separate. The first non-Lord X song in this video is going to be Pareidolia. Pareidolia is made by Springless for the Rewrite story. Not the most creative name, but certainly a fun character. I hardly see anyone ever try to go in depth into Pareidolia, despite how unique and deep it really is. Pareidolia takes place after one of the players has finished playing Rewrite's game. The way Rewrite works is very different from the usual EXE, where someone like Lord X will physically drag you into his game. Instead, Rewrite decides to take a more mental approach. He will psychologically wear you down until you eventually take your own life. In the end, your own demise is by your own hand, and because you played both this game, you've essentially given him a key to your mind. This is best conveyed through Rewrite Round 2. The encore variant of Trinity, we can see the way Rewrite takes his victim. Once they're essentially all officially broken down, he will convey his final message, that together, we're going to die, instructing the viewer one more time to take their own life. by taking his own. Personally, I believe Pareidolia takes place specifically in the original Miles vessel, at least the soul that inhabits it. Considering they're the only other character, excluding Rewrite, to be shown throughout the music video, it would only make sense. Pareidolia is mainly visual, so it is just kind of like you have to watch the music video to understand anything, considering there's no rewrites. Because Pareidolia has no lyrics, it is all visuals that we have to rely on. But it is a pretty self-explanatory story. In it, we have the direct consequences of what happens after playing the game, where the viewer, or I suppose the protagonist of the story, starts to hallucinate and see Rewrite everywhere in his vision. In the streets, in his own home, it becomes such a problem that eventually he starts even drawing cryptic pictures of Rewrite. The things he constantly sees, always tormenting and haunting him, until it's eventually all too much and he takes his own life, presumably by jumping off an edge or some sort of cliff. The unfortunate soul and victim of Rewrite loses themselves and becomes another soul trapped in the machine, trapped in this never-ending digital world. Whoa! Wait a minute. Next up is Glee Co. Now, Glee Co actually has a very deep meaning if you really read into the lyrics, which I decided to take a bit more of a focus on this time, considering I felt like some of my old explanations were a bit iffy. Personally, the way I see Glee Co is that it's a much more of a commentary on big corporations, highlighted by both the design of being essentially imprisoned. This is one of the few songs that actually includes Red Glove in it, and is the first musical appearance of him, despite his appearances in the game and in other media, like I have been told. It's essentially his first musical endeavor. Red Glove works as a representation of corporations and their greed, talking about how much they love everything is heinous, how they love the way trees burn down, and how everything is essentially in chaos. Red Glove represents the big corporation, while Lord X himself represents the middleman, the average people chained up by corporations and the heavy loads they carry through the work. It's one of the deeper meaning songs in such a simple little story, but I really do like it. There's no real canonicity to it, it's more of just a song that talks about a completely separate topic. However, if you'd like to dive a bit deeper, you could argue that this would be after he lets everyone go, leaving the fate of Lord X to be nothing more than a prisoner of his own games. In general, the name Glee Co does represent a gleeful corporation, something that's so happy to see it all go down and burn just for the sake of their own corporate greed and the never-ending want for more and more power, and especially more money. The next song is When the Stars Go Silent. The main reason I want to cover this song is mainly just to give an unbiased review of it. The main reason I want to cover this song is to give an unbiased review of it. The original creator of the song, known as Dankachi, had made a video in which he included it. And I do feel like it could come off as a little biased considering it's his own product. So I'm here to give a completely honest and detailed review. This is a bit more of a review, but the story is a lot better and told in much more depth on his channel. But to simplify, it is essentially about a god known as Lucian, who, in a big act of rage, accidentally kills, everyone, ever. So, in his sorrow, he regrets it and feels all bad. But I feel like I want to dive a bit more into a general review of the song, because I really do like it. However, I feel like I have a bit of a problem with it. That's mainly due to the length. The best song I could compare this to is probably Runaway from the original Sinister Minds album, in which essentially has its main hook, and that's kind of it. After that, it slows down, and eventually the song ends pretty quickly. And I feel like that works to its benefit. It has its big hook and it has its big grand moment for 2011, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. That's probably the only reason it is the shortest song, because it's mainly, like I said, the chorus that carries the song. Without it, it would be a very forgettable song, I feel like, to most people. And the problem with When the Stars Go Silent is that it just drags on for a little too long. I feel like if it had ended a lot sooner, it would have been a lot better. Though, I have to say, I truly do love the song. I do think it was great work, the vocals had the emotion they needed, and the lyrics were pretty catchy. I just wish it was a little shorter. The final song I want to talk about today is Innovate, the main song that inspired the first video and that even motivated the second one. Innovate follows the two rivals, Fixation and Temptation, where Fixation wants the viewer to lock in essentially and take a hold of their own dreams, working hard to innovate and improve on something they have always wanted to, finally letting into their fixation and embracing it for what it is. Making something great, getting the power, the money, the fame they've always wanted, and working hard to achieve it. However, temptation is there to foil him, working as the envy, the ache when you envy the high, the people that are above you, the people that make you just furious, the people you're jealous of, the people you want to be, the people you want to be above. Telling you how to cheat your way out of it all. Make quick schemes, make quick plans. Don't ever think too hard, don't ever put too much effort. Why bother when you can just use AI after all? Temptation is the evilness and the want you have to just skip all the hard work and get right to the glory. But there's temptation and fixation. Two forces of good and bad working for the same goal. Fixation shows you the dedication in your hard work. Whether you're first or last, your torch will be passed. There's always going to be someone to carry on the legacy that you've left behind, whether it be the same way you did or in a different way. So, the best way you can do is, instead of chasing glory your whole life, go and work for something you want. To truly set your mind to something that you've been dedicated to. Not letting all these people get in your way. You're trying too hard or simply not enough. It's just too much effort. It's too much pressure. So you'll handle it and strive. The best way to work with fixation is to not give in to temptation. To work hard for what you want and to put all of your heart and soul into it. Because rewards only come to those who innovate. And so instead of giving in to temptation, it's best to take the hand of your fixation and embrace it. To finally put in the effort and work you've been wanting to all along and achieving that lifelong dream. And to finally show everyone what you're made of, that you can truly innovate. You didn't think it'd be over that soon, did you? Alright. One more song, just for old time's sake. You Belong to Me predates Innovate by quite the large amount of time, actually. It's the first song in the Fixation series and essentially the only one at the time. Fixation represents the concept of, Sonic EXE as a whole. Kind of like how Allfather feeds off the various stories told about Sonic EXE. Fixation directly is the kind of stories, He's a bit more of a tame version of Allfather. And honestly, I kind of prefer him over the Allfather concept as a whole. It doesn't really bank off this pre-existing lore of other characters, and it's its own concept. Sure, it does rely on the original story and other stories around it, I just think it does a better job of handling it. And I feel like nothing highlights that more than the original You Belong to Me song. Fixation almost finds pride in the way people still spread his story, though it does confuse him. He's very interested in to see why the concept of Sonic EXE stuck around for so long, and why people have been so entranced by it. He asks questions like, was it his design? Was it just him as a character? No matter what, even after all those screams and terror he's brought upon young children of many ages, me included. I was always scared of Sonic EXE back in its heyday, but he can't help but question it all. He's not exactly scary, and he did scare people, so why would anyone ever come back for him? Why would people keep spreading his name? And he's interesting. And so Fixation does a great job of essentially being both intrigued and proud of this. You can't help but feel grateful and happy down deep inside, but he still questions it at the end of the day. You Belong to Me is a really good song and is honestly kind of chill compared to a lot of other songs made by like the EXE fandom. If you compare something like that to Innovate, the second song that came way later, it's definitely a lot more chilled out. I really liked You Belong to Me, and I would like to thank the commenter who recommended the song. I'd seen it a couple times, but I didn't really listen to it during recording the first segment or even like editing. So thanks to this person up on screen. And most importantly, we can get to the real finale of the video. Where I talk and stuff. I'd like to give a special thanks to everyone who watched the first video and was actually interested in the second one. I didn't anticipate such positive reviews, especially for my half-assed video. I really want to put in more effort and try harder, and in general, it's just something I've always wanted to do. A hobby I've always wanted to, really sink my teeth into. I do plan on making more videos that aren't exclusively EXE related, despite, I absolutely love the series and all the things that come out of Sonic the Hedgehog, especially the EXE side of things. I've always adored it. But I also want to dive into other things. I've become a very music-oriented channel, and I do want to lean a bit more into it, but I also want to be able to show off things I like. I plan on making a motif video if you are ever interested in something more music-related. And if you just want to see some more EXE content, I'll probably dive into the outcome memory stuff. More specifically, the fun LMS themes and less of the nitpicky drama. I also want to make a video talking about my thoughts on the Amazing Digital Circus finale. I made a post about it, and I'm hoping some of you guys will be interested in me taking some further leaps and reaching out into different content. From now on, I want to try putting more effort in, especially because school's out and, I don't have to study as hard. It'll be a lot easier to crank out content and truly put some time and effort into editing and recording. So, from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank everyone that joined me on the first video and everyone who joined me this far to the second one. So, I guess there's nothing else to do but to say farewell. I'll see you in the next one.